And what is up, dear friends? Technicals Tinkers here, checking in. It's the middle of the day. We did our update video this morning, and now we're gonna do the first part of the next day's video. Welcome to all the new subscribers. Appreciate all the views. If you're unfamiliar, I'm a small business owner. I have a business with nothing to do with 3D printing, but I'm trying it out. If I can scale it here at home, then I can scale up and move it into my nice big fat warehouse. So subscribe to the channel, follow me along in this journey. This is pure exhibition. This is not instructional. I'm a complete novice at this, and I appreciate everyone commenting in the comments, telling me what I'm doing wrong and how to adjust and make it better, and all your ideas for things to print. Keep it coming. What am I working on today? Well, over here on the Cobra, we got another D20 cube, and I'm sizing it down the same size D20s I do here on the Soval, because I kind of want it just to be standardized. Now, I could go bigger on the Cobras, but 350 build plates are like kind of the standard. So I'm kind of thinking ahead. If D20s, these dice, become a thing, it's probably better to have them a standard size, something that the Cobras can print and the Soval can print, because the Soval's faster. It's Core XY. So we're doing a silver silk PLA D20 there, an orange standard one up there, and we finished our stone one. We're gonna take a look at that here shortly. Here on Cobra 2, we had this batch of rolling trays finish up, this silk rainbow effect. Very cool, very shiny, very sheeny. Always feels greasy to me for some reason. I guess that's just a texture thing, I'm not sure. Doing a batch of 3 of our little boy nuclear bombs models of course, here on the A1. Those expect to be done sometime in the morning. And we got a little surprise down here. This finished up literally 5 minutes ago, so I'm not gonna take it off the plate, but this is one of the character models. We'll take that off. I guess we'll leave that for tomorrow morning's update, but very happy to see that one came out. And so back here, this is the marble effect D20. Hard to grab onto by just the numbers. D20 that we did. We just put it up on the Etsy this morning, and it came out really good. This marbling effect with these little flecks in it, really cool, really gives it like a stone sort of vibe, like it's marbled. Here along the bottom is probably kind of the worst area. This was like overhang because the model, let's see if I can flip this one-handed. Damn, I'm skilled. It was on the build plate like this, so when it was doing the overhang, it kind of had some layer adhesion problems there, and that's probably from the thick layer height and really just, I don't know, someone mentioned doing outside, inside on the perimeters, but that's what I do anyway. It does outside, then the inside, so maybe they meant reverse that. Maybe try that in the future, but very cool model indeed. That's up on the Etsy now. Please buy it. Give me money. Additionally, someone had a brilliant idea. Thanks for the idea. Hopefully I can profit from it, of making insert trays for power tools. So I looked around on Etsy. I didn't find any. I'm sure they exist. The only issue is that, you know, like for instance, I run DeWalt tools. They have like, DeWalt has like 3, maybe 4 versions of like this. This is just a oscillating multi-tool. I know that they have several different versions, like they have the small, the super compact form. I've just got this XR version here, but I thought that was a great idea. So what I'll do is I'll just make a square and kind of carve out an indentation where this can sit in there. And that way someone, if they want to keep their tools organized, they can just take those squares and tile them up in their toolbox. Again, that product probably exists. But I didn't see it in the first page of results on Etsy when I searched for it, so that means that there's probably an opportunity there. So I'm gonna give it a shot, measure this up, and see if I can slap something together. So that is the midday update for today. I'm gonna kick it over to my future self tomorrow morning to see how all this stuff turned out. All right, and so it is the next morning. Let's check in and see how things are working out here. We've got the big silk D20 dice coming out. Again, a little squirrely here on the bottom. Someone was mentioning doing a outside inside on the perimeter walls instead of the default, which is inside outside, but every printer I've ever had does the outside wall first, a little bit slower, and then the inside wall kind of fast. And in my thinking, it would probably stabilize it more if it went inside outside, since that outside perimeter would have something more to stick to. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Over here on the A1, did a batch of 3. I guess we printed them kind of close. They kind of all conglomerated together, of our little boy atomic bombs. These are like the standard size that we'll put on there for like, you know, $20 or something like that. Just kind of a little desk ornament, kind of a funky, cool sort of thing. Nothing on Cobra 1. Cobra 2, we had these finish up. I think these were finished on yesterday's midday sort of wrap up, so just didn't pull those off yet. We started doing another D20 cube in orange over here, but I did notice that it screwed up, yeah, here on the 13. I guess I need to be a little more aggressive with the support settings just to kind of give it some more support. And actually, this one is super thin. Holy cow. I don't know what I did on that because this thing is way too thin. So glad I caught that before it went too far. Additionally, yesterday I was talking about making an outer shell for the RC car for the dog, and someone was like, why don't you use TPU? Because, you know, it's flexible, it's not gonna, you know, kind of be brittle and shattered like PLA. And I'm like, that is a fantastic idea. So luckily I live in an area where I get Amazon stuff pretty quick. So I went ahead and got 2 rolls of this Overture TPU, reading a little bit about it, never worked with it before. And people are like, you absolutely have to dry it for like umpteen hours. So I got 1 roll here in the Comgrow filament dryer, put it on 50 Celsius for 16 hours. And that kind of prompted me to think like, oh, I should probably check in on the dryers, the filament, the silica beads in my storage bin here. Now I've been emptying out the little active dehumidifier I have in the back there. It does collect maybe, I don't know, I'm gonna say 5-10 milliliters of water a day, which is crazy to me because I keep the lid on this thing. But inside I did have those 2 Eva Dry dehumidifiers, and the beads had turned. So I guess they're doing their job, they're pulling it out. And so I don't know how bad it really is when I pull this out, how much, you know, it cycles the air, how much humid air gets in there. But since that humidifier is circulating the air gently, I'd like to think that it is making a little bit of a difference every single day, and that generally the stuff in here is getting a little bit drier over time. And over here on the P1P, we've actually got a pretty cool design coming out. I'll show you the model on this. This is really just kind of a test number 1 of it, but I think it's pretty cool. I think there might be some potential on that. So yeah, like I was saying back here, these Eva Dry, they had turned blue equals wet, and they're pretty blue after not too long. So I got them plugged in here. Gonna leave them running for a while. Looks like it's pulling about just about 23.5 watts. Got the other one over here, about the same, about 23 watts. It's wet as well. So I think it said to let them go for like 12 hours or until they turn dry, but to not leave them plugged in. So I'll keep an eye on those. That's why I plugged them in back here, because I'm, you know, always in here. I'll see them and be reminded of it. And as far as that other model goes, I'm over here in my Bamboo studio. Obviously, this is like a don't tread on me kind of thing, you know, and this because I've had so much interest, no sales, but interest in those gun models. And, you know, there are a lot of people that are into guns and things like that. And this is kind of like, you know, popular, the Gadsden flag and things like that. So I was looking around on Etsy, and I saw, like, because the first thing I do is check Etsy to see if there's a market for it, or if the product I have in mind is already being sold in some capacity, and if there's room for me. And I couldn't find anything that was really 3D printed with what kind of like I was thinking, like something that was actually sort of 3D. My original concept was an actual 3D coiled up snake, you know, that was actually 3D. That was like, you know, kind of out and striking. And I couldn't really, I've tried to design, I wasn't able to design anything like that. But looking around, I couldn't really find anything suitable until I found a site that sells files for laser engraving, CNC, and they're STL files, but they are huge. I mean, I'm talking millions and millions of faces. And so the design was pricey. It was about $20, but it did say on the site, like, you can do whatever you want with the files. And I'm like, you know what, bet, let's go. So I went ahead and bought it, downloaded it. This is like the Gadsden sort of thing, a spin on it, the don't tread on me sort of thing. But I did have to do some work to the file because it was so complex. I had to simplify it. And then additionally, I had to extrude it because, like, say this banner here, it was only this top layer. There was nothing underneath. And so I kind of had to go in and was trying to do it in Blender. Ultimately, I ended up using 3D Builder to extrude it down to try to fill it in because I wanted some more height out of it, and I didn't want a bunch of floating regions. Now, I did notice, not until after I'd kind of brought it in, that there was still an area here that failed to extrude. But just using 3D Builder to extrude it down took like 10 minutes to do it. And I have a really good system. I have a 9950X with 64 gigs of DDR5 and a 4070. So I think probably because it was using a Windows service, it was probably CPU dependent to do that. But I was like, oh my God, it's taking forever. So I just went ahead and did it. And then I'm over here in Bamboo Studio trying to paint this thing, and it's got so many faces that using the fill tool, it's, I mean, it kind of works for some areas, but really a lot of this is going to have to be hand painted. So you can tell there's kind of all these screw ups here, with, you know, well, I'll call it overspray and stuff like that. And then I have to like paint it down and then like decide what to make into shadows and whatnot. So what I did was I got it kind of close enough to give me an idea to see, like, is it really worth putting my time? Because this is like at least an hour worth of painting. Is that a long time for painting in Bamboo Studio? I don't know. So I was like, okay, let's just go with it, because right now, if you go over to preview, the total filament used all in is 271 grams. It's not a lot. So I was like, okay, let's go ahead and print ourselves a test copy just to see how this is going to look out, you know, because like I might need to extrude it again, make it taller, change some things around. And when you go and do that, especially in Bamboo Studio, it removes all the painting. And so it's like, you know, if I'm going to put all this painting in, I really need to make sure that it is fundamentally a sound model before I go through and put the time into painting it. Because I do believe it is kind of a cool gift. It's got that wide appeal. It's got that gun person appeal that, you know, that person, that I know, not to speak about that person, I am that person. But, you know, kind of Christmas is coming up, and this is kind of be like a cool gift. You could see there's, you know, certainly a 3D element there. I'm not sure what the total height on this is. Let's see. So the total Z height is 20 millimeters. So it's about an inch thick. You know, can you hold your fingers up to the screen? So it's definitely got a cool 3D effect. You know, this is on the P1P, so it'll max out at that 256 millimeters. So a nice little wall placard or something like that. I thought that was super cool. So I'm going to be working on that today. Going to be working on kind of experiment. I guess I got to let the TPU dry out before I can really experiment with it. Continuing to print the bomb things. I might go ahead and get started another D20 in another color, just so I can take pictures for the Etsy. I was able to get that up. Let's take a look at that. So I was able to get the big D20 stone effect dice up on the Etsy. I've got it in for $100 because, you know, and once packed, it's like an 18 cube, and it only weighs 2 pounds, but at the cheapest rate I could find was like $40 to ship it. And I just used like a sample shipping to like either Alaska or California or whatever. So kind of figuring in like $40 for that. The filament cost on it's about $20. If you factor in failure as well, you know, you're probably looking at like $60 in cost. So $100 for free shipping, because that's a kind of a selling point. You know, that seems kind of worth it to me, just to kind of print these out, because there's virtually no post-production here. That seems worth the time for me. So I got it in at $40, got the attribution in place, all square there, and up on the Etsy. So that's kind of how, a brief overview of how I price things and how I put them up. But we'll see if it gets any hits, and I'll probably do different products for the different color cubes, just so I have more products, more of a catalog of products, and I'll just eat the 20 cents or whatever it costs to list it on Etsy. So that's what's going on in the 3D print arena for today. We'll continue chipping away at things. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Again, thanks to all the new subscribers coming in and all the suggestions, all the education that you guys are providing me. Thank you once again. Be sure to like the video and subscribe for more content like this. I'm the Technicals. See you next time.